Hey, welcome. Welcome to the recap. What's going on? I don't see anybody.
Let me know if you hear anything to my investigation. What investigation is that? Agent Lucifer.
Use your imagination.
You're the guy that got arrested for assaulting John Boyd. That's who you are.
Hello. Well, anyway, welcome to the recap to the people in here. This is a weekend review of everything that has happened this week. And a lot has happened.
See you later, all right?
So first off, let's talk about, of course, politics. We'll run through that real quick. So Joe Biden is in the lead as far as delegates are concerned, with 664 delegates, with Bernie Sanders behind with 573 delegates, Elizabeth Warren with 64 before she left, and Bloomberg with 61 before he left. The total amount of delegates to win the nomination left is 1,991. Hey, what's going on, Brother Nate? How you doing? So it looks like a Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden fight to the nomination. So I hope you guys are keeping up with that. Also this week, your president talked about cutting entitlements. So he will be cutting. Hey, how you doing? Just one and only. What's going on? He will be cutting entitlements as well. Coming up shortly, he will be attempting to gut Social Security as well as Medicare and Medicaid. Oh, you hope Joe wins? Well, I mean, yeah, it's only between the two. So you got Joe Biden on one end, you got Bernie Sanders on another. We'll see who wins. I don't know about. I'm curious to find out who's going to be the candidate to the running mates. I'm curious to find out who's going to be picked. So, interesting. Find out who will be the candidate to run. Oh my gosh, so I wonder if
Let me know what time you get from Stacey. I'll meet you there.
Stacey Abrams will be picked, Kamala Harris, or even Val Demings. Val Demings' name has been thrown into the mix. Apparently, it's been rumored that Chuck Schumer asked that it be a woman of color to be the vice president nominee. So we'll see who gets picked. That's why he's not going to get another 4 years. Yeah, so we'll see if he gets another 4 years or not. So other than that, of course, some sad news. Alabama inmate Nathaniel Woods was executed for a crime committed back in... Yeah. Oh, you like Val? Yeah, 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours. Yep. So, hey, y'all silly. Yeah, I like Val too. She's tough, but it always find out what the problem is. What they may be discovering during the vetting process that may eliminate the favorites out of the running for vice president. So that's the only bad part about that. Politics and wellness. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. So that would be definitely 4. That would definitely be interesting. So, and right now I'm hanging out with my best friend, so I decided to pop up and do a little thing at her place. So that's what you hear in the background.
Yeah, me running my mouth.
Yeah. No, she's not. She does hair and stuff. Well, she does a great job, but
Thank you.
whatever. So that's where I'm at right now, hanging out with her. So I decided to pop up and do it here. Joe will do better with strong black men. It just okay. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Although I looked at his, I will be doing some things on their platform, and I've been looking at Joe's platform, and I don't really see too many things geared toward people of color. However, I have looked at Bernie Sanders' platform, and there's a lot of little things that are geared towards people of color outside. Now, so I don't know if it's just a wide stretch of maybe he didn't want to, maybe Joe didn't want it to actually make it so geared towards people of color, and it's more broad, maybe so, but it's not really. I mean, Bernie had things about historically black colleges that he wanted to do, prison reform, housing and development, all these things that affect a lot of our communities, and a lot of us come from, have gotten educational degrees from historically black colleges and universities. But I didn't see any of that in Joe's packet. But again, there's still time. But like I said, I will be doing a video on that. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be live or not. That's what I'm still debating. But I will be doing a video on the 2 platforms, so you get a better idea of what candidate offers over the other. And of course, what I was saying before then is just Nathaniel Woods was executed yesterday or the other day in Alabama. And there was some actual evidence, and even the person who actually did the shooting said that Nathaniel was not involved in the shooting at all, but he was still executed. The governor did not use the stay. He actually wound up going through with the execution. So unfortunately, Nathaniel Woods lost his life. So we shall see. I think as far as that's concerned, if there's any question of evidence or anything like that, it definitely needs to be a stay. I think there's no reason for people to be executed if there's a reasonable doubt or some new evidence that actually shows a sense of taking a step back, maybe having to take that person off of death row. Doesn't mean that they won't still be in jail, but they may just have to do you may just have to rerun the case and they'll still be in jail. So you never know. I find it very disheartening that we don't even give a chance to new evidence for people on death row. Death row is the end all. So yeah, new evidence needs to be looked into in dealing with situations like that. Even if he was to spend the rest of his life in jail, that's fine. But if new evidence shows that he could be removed from death row, why not give the man that opportunity? Yes, all evidence should be looked at. Yeah, I agree, Nate. All evidence should be looked at before anything. Definitely before execution. I think that's horrible. Also, this week in the news, Olive Garden customer reportedly refused service from a black server, and the management complied. So there was this young African American server who was basically just doing her job, and the white patron asked to have another server who was white, claiming that the young lady was rude and disrespectful and didn't know how to serve her. She, of course, was upset and felt some type of way. So they wind up in a complaint. Olive Garden has since fired that manager who complied and gave them a white server. Also, the two African American employees of that Olive Garden in, I believe that was Alabama as well, wind up filing a lawsuit. And they're filing a lawsuit. I think they're teaming up with the NAACP for racial discrimination. So hopefully they get some reprieve from that. I think in this day and age, I think that's sad and it's unfortunate that someone still has to make sure she had done some social right something. I mean, I think that's crazy that you just do that to people. That still in this day and age, we can't. You can request to not have a black person serve you, to have a white person serve you. And she continued on with her insults. Not only did she just stop there, but she continued on with her insults. So anyway, they're looking to sue her and the other employee as well. Because there's a topic, of course, that I want to get to that everybody's been talking about. And being that I have female friends in the room, I can ask them about this question. But I definitely wanted to get the juice and the berries out the way. See, I know I had another story here somewhere, and I can't find it. Pull it up real quick. But anyway, just a quick rundown of the week. If anybody knows of any other stories that they came across this week, you can pop it in the chat, and we can talk about that as well. But those are the main ones that really stuck out, of course. Knowing that Joe Biden was kind of on his last leg, and this gave him an extra boost of gas. He is now the front runner thus far for the presidential ticket. So that's a definite booster to him, because if he didn't get it, he was definitely on his way out the door. And of course, in Alabama with the man losing the look. Oh yeah, I know it was. Got it. So the young man who filmed himself licking the Blue Bell ice cream inside of a Walmart got 30 days in jail plus like a $1,500 fine. However, although he did film himself licking the tub of ice cream, he did pay for the ice cream after he filmed the video. So my thing was, I felt personally that, of course, it was gross, but I think it was a bit much. I mean, being that he did pay for it after he filmed himself licking it, I felt was like, I mean, okay, it'd be different if he put it back and left it there for someone else to purchase and all that stuff. That would be highly disgusting, and I would think that would warrant 30 days in jail and a $1,500 fine. Because I look at people who are in grocery stores and you get a bag of grapes or something, and then you wind up eating the grapes as you're shopping or something like that. It's the same thing. So I don't know. I think the punishment was a bit harsh and a bit extreme to the point where you give him 30 days in jail and a fine and community service and all of that. So I don't know. But let me know what your thoughts are on that. 15,000 for some ice cream. I hope it was worth it. No, it was 1,500, not 15,000. It was 1,500. I'm sorry if I read that. Get it? Yeah. Yeah, that was hard. Yeah, I mean, he filmed himself licking it or what have you. I guess for his YouTube or whatever social media outlet he was doing it for. Then after he filmed it, he purchased the set thing. They have video surveillance of him purchasing the actual thing, the ice cream. So that's why I'm like, I don't understand that's like somebody going into the store and you opening a bag of potato chips or cookies or something, and as you're shopping, you're eating the product, and then when you go to the register, you go, oh, I ate these, and you have them scan it and they pay for it. To me, it's the same thing. Yeah. $1,500 is definitely a lot for something like that. That makes me wonder sometimes if the judge was of the other than it was one of us, because sometimes they like to hand out harsher punishment to us than they do to them. But anyway, moving right along from that. So we're getting to this question, and I'll ask the ladies. Excuse me, ladies, I have a question for you guys. So my question to you and you ladies in the chat about the word fish, right? So there's this big debate on women feeling some type of way being referred to as fish, because in the gay community, it's a word that just represents like someone who's trying to imitate a woman, actually looking passable like a woman, almost like, definitely not nothing disrespectful, but something, like prideful in a sense, right? So some people are up in arms that they don't want to be called fish or referenced to as fish. And they don't publicly, I haven't heard anybody publicly say to somebody, unless they knew them, oh, you look like fish or anything like that. I haven't heard anybody blatantly just come out and call a woman fish or anything like that. So I don't know anything about it. But would you feel some type of way if you heard someone reference you that way?
Well, for my generation, if someone said anything to you about fish, it's about how you smelled.
Okay, it was about how you smelled, right? Okay.
So if somebody said something like that to me, yeah, I'd be offended.
Okay, because it would be about how. Okay, I get that.
I watch RuPaul's Drag Race a lot, and I hear it as a compliment.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, right. Usually, it's a compliment.
All right. So now you're in between us. How you feel about it?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't care.
She said she don't care.
That's irrelevant to my life. I don't understand. No, I don't see that. Any other time I see hair.
You don't. It's right by your feet and over by the box.
So I see a gold thing.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
The word fish is a double entendre.
Okay, over by the box, I think that might be a rubber.
It is a double entendre.
Okay, so I really don't care if they want to call people fish. That's their goddamn problem. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but it's said as a compliment. Yeah, but it's said as a compliment though.
Compliment somebody by calling them fish.
But it's the compliment saying that you look like a woman, not that you smell like.
How does a fish make it be a woman? How is
because you look
a
super.
symbol of a woman?
Well, I don't know if it's a symbol. I don't know if it's a
that
symbol.
makes no sense whatsoever.
I didn't make it up. I'm just saying I didn't make it up. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Like I didn't make it up. I'm just saying. I know.
And I'm just like, everybody getting all upset. I don't give a fuck.
Right. I
So
know.
who that girl in the background? I'm gonna be cussed out tonight in the damn chat box.
No, you're
And I don't give a fuck.
But in general, you don't give a
I
fuck
don't
what
give a fuck.
anybody says.
No, I really don't.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's just been the actual. The debate has been going on and on and on like all week, and I'm just like, what's the
I don't see what the
like? I get it, but if it's not like if the person doesn't mean it in a disrespectful way,
Yeah, they have to.
yeah, the meaning has changed. You smell like fish, right? Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
Because you told Sean and now Shauna that he looked like fish. That's their problem. Shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Because I'm
know.
pretty sure I don't look like Shauna because she probably look kind of manly, so I'm not offended.
Well, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
They all sound- yeah.
People out there that they really if you
Yeah,
are,
but-
you don't really
No,
know. Like,
right.
But at the end of the day, you can tell a little bit.
You think so?
They got big hands.
You think?
When we grew up together, he was a straight boy, but if you see him now, you would never know.
you never know.
Them
I know
guess
this
what?
I grew up
His
with.
hands ain't changed. Men got big ass hands.
Not all of them.
Like he's super small and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
They always got them real strong veins in their neck and shit. You cannot tell me none of that's man. Get the hell out of here. I don't give a goddamn how much makeup you put on. Bitch, you got that big ass artery sitting outside your neck like they're doing this.
But aren't they?
Man, hell with me.
well, that's why most of them have long hair.
But aren't they like?
like?
But aren't there hormones that kind of minimize the appearance of all that?
Now the only one I can
I'm
say
asking.
I thought was a woman
I
until
don't
we
know.
looked it up. We watched Pose, House of Evangelista, whatever. It's
Oh,
called.
you talking about one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now that one, I really thought was a woman until we
Okay.
looked it up and we found out she really was a man.
Right.
And she was in Queen.
Well, that's like what was we watching?
Yeah,
the
she was
other
in that
day?
movie with them. She's in that movie.
Oh,
we
is
was watching that
Yeah, she's in that movie. My mother knows it.
911 show.
Okay.
And I said that guy really was a
I mean, I don't
woman,
know.
so he
I'm
was a
just
butt
taking a
up.
guess out there.
Remember when?
I don't know at
I
all.
didn't see the whole movie. Remember they was all
Well,
they
it's supposed
put them on
to,
TV?
but it's supposed to
And
make
you
your
sit there and
features
two-
more
two girl, one was
slender or
like,
feminine.
Yeah.
In the sense that's why they take them.
Gotta watch
I
it.
thought so. That's why I posed it.
My mama said, "Look, I saw what that is." Her. It was like preview. Are you coming to the kitchen? But you do know what I'm talking about? That looks like really looks like a woman. Yeah,
Right. That's what I. That's why I thought. That's why they take it so it can feminize or kind of make the feature softer, so they're not so manly looking.
Certain colors.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, thank you guys for your.
Oh,
For your
I
input on
probably
that.
just roughly your whole little thing. My bad.
No, you didn't know. It was fine because I didn't know. Like I was really trying to get I was really trying to get some clarity from like how you guys felt about it. Right, from 3 generations of people. Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool.
That's the way to get you
It
on
may
the
soften
chat.
up your
I don't know what
features.
we on there.
No, it's not. But you can right. No, I mean I get the apocalypse. I mean I totally agree, but it does, it does soften your features. That's the reason why people take it.
There's a
So
thing out there that says no.
that was just the point in me asking that. And then also, okay, so last night, some things happened, and a fellow content creator was, a bit inebriated and said some things
It's still shutting down.
about himself that I guess he felt, somebody was going to expose it anyway, so he felt to get in front of it.
It's already changed?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's that's tough. I don't think it's anybody's place to take something of that caliber or anything like that and threaten somebody with it or threaten to expose them with that. because I think that's very personal. It's personal. It's
The next thing you know, they were gone.
it's someone's health, you know, and we shouldn't just throw stuff like that around or threaten to expose things of that nature, because then we become just as I don't know, just as bad as other things and other people, and it makes you question people and things when stuff like that is done.
Is it good?
I don't know. I don't know.
Carter might like it.
I was about to say Carter got something to pull on.
You always find
Even
one
if a
here.
man takes female hormones, he's always going to have a male strength. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. It does strengthen. It does like minimize your muscle growth as well too when you take them. So it does, you know, minimize your muscle. So you can have small, softer features or arms or whatever.
He just laughed.
That's why we have such a stigma. Yeah, I agree with Smart Show.
Thank you, ma'am.
Reloaded
Want to count it,
true.
the least makes me count it. But I be trusting people too much.
That's
Like, no, count it. I'm like, okay. To see me count on them goddamn sticky tins
Right,
the other day you gave me. I'm like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
believe me,
no,
when
I mean, at the end of the day, they do have strength. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the adding them to sports, playing against females or things of that nature. I just don't feel like that would be right. Because it wouldn't be fair.
5, 10, or 20. But they put a new machine.
Now, if they had their own league or their own, you know, thing where they competed against themselves, that would be fine. But I don't necessarily feel like
But you
it
can't
would be
take
fair.
You can't take
I
$10
don't remember
out.
what state
They're like
it was
PNC
that
Bank
banned.
put out.
Yeah, from participating. Yeah, I seen that article too. I don't remember what state it was, but I did see that article that they don't want them to run track against each other and play sports.
I don't even know. He said something about.
Men naturally
coworkers
want
work so
to
hard, so
reach
he ordered the part online.
when it
I
comes
ordered
to
the part
women.
because it's cheaper
There are
and
some
it was going
things
to
that
the-
estrogen cannot undo. Yeah, no, I totally agree with population. Of course, there is some things that it won't be able to undo at all. I'm just saying it just makes that it softens. My point was that it just softens features.
Push it back twice.
The average man can run faster than a woman.
Yeah, he has to show them the receipt
Okay.
for the repairs.
But he
Got
said
it.
he don't want to get it repaired now.
Hey, Bless Watkins, how you doing?
Save his money.
Welcome to the recap. So, I don't know. I just find it to be very just disheartening that stuff can happen. And yeah, we're as content creators and as, you know, people on this, we are definitely responsible for our own actions and responsibilities. So when those people,
His check engine light is on.
you know, do
He
things
was in an
and,
accident.
you know,
He
those, it's your responsibility. But as far as anything else other than that, like exposing someone's status or anything like that, I think that it's
I know
not.
somebody who's doing both.
Definitely,
He don't wanna go
No,
there.
something we should
you
definitely
get
do.
somebody to go and reset it. My mom did that.
And then
They
you-
reset
and
it
then
and
you
went
run
there.
to- You run to a,
Yeah.
I run
And
to
then
a
2 days
I
later,
think
like
that
came
was
back
his
on.
car.
Yeah.
My check engine light was going on and off.
Mhm.
So, and the guy said,
Yeah.
check, as soon as it goes off, run to emissions. I did, I passed. And I got 2 years to get it fixed, but now I only got a year, but it's like, oh, well. Like, I can't find my inspection thing. I gotta look through my glove compartment.
Oh, they give you no one.
Changing.
He said it's like a
I'd be competing at snatch over women. In sports, generally, women work too hard to have their own sports to be separate from men. Yeah, they have. But you know, some people feel like if they adjust, if they consider themselves or see themselves as women, then they should be able to
Hello.
they should be able to participate in the sport. But I mean, I agree.
Okay.
I think they, you know, they should be able to play up against born women. But you know, when do we draw the line? When does inclusion have a limit? And I think that's where people start to feel like things are being taken away from them. And that whole
And
debate
her
starts.
big ass mouth.
And then the grandmother, the great grandmother, the
It's to
mother,
let you know how much
the
your
great
personal
grandmother, the
information
grandmother,
can
and
be
then the
easily
mother,
accessed. Yeah,
they have these receding hairlines. So she's spazzing out
yeah,
about that.
that's
She's
that's
like,
true. That's true too.
She's like, Mom, am I
Unfortunately,
gonna get like great grandma and my hair be back here?
I
I'm
told
like,
you, yeah.
"Sure." I'm like,
yeah, but who's
Yeah.
I'm saying who's right
I know, I
in
just
that
go-
regard, just because
like, I
your
don't
personal
know. I was like,
information
I'm not gonna-
can be
not gonna
easily
have to
accessed.
be, so
Who's
I'm
to say it's
okay with
somebody's
that.
right to expose it?
That's my father. Everybody's family got thinning right here, middle of the head.
Mm,
That's how my family is. Like every woman on my mom's side has either I was
Because they're much stronger.
a ponytail or just to wear a short haircut because it thins out. And my sister, her hair is thinning out, and they're like, "Why you don't have hair like that?" I was like, "I got my daddy hair. It's thick."
Yeah, all right. Don't be.
Yeah, that's what I did. I got my dad's hair too. And I was like, I look at his hair now, and he's got his mom's hair. Before he had his dad's hair.
she said
But
innocence.
when that gray came in, it's like you can wet a brush now and just brush his hair.
In her chest, that was a high.
You take a wet
Oh,
brush
wow.
and go.
Hmm.
So I was like, I hope and pray that when mine's turn all gray, that it'd be like.
Mm. Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think that there should, at some point, there should be some kind of separation. It's different if you consider yourself to be a woman and you want to be dressed that way and all that. That's perfectly fine. But when you're going into different avenues of sports and other things where you actually dealing with strength levels and all that, there should be some sort of kind of
My
separation.
gray hair was like highlights.
Oh yeah, keep you.
And then I stopped. No, and then I stopped using it and went back to
It's just
using,
interesting.
Interesting
thought.
The one
I feel like it's men telling women to
and it was
shut up.
looking brassy, so I went and had it dyed. So I was like, I hate this.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't necessarily think it's like a shut up type of thing. But it's making sure that everybody has a seat at the table. And I think maybe we're being too, maybe sometimes we're trying to make sure everything fits or everybody fits at the table instead of certain things, setting certain things aside to where in which that would just make better sense. Being sports, you're dealing with a different demographic, a different thing. You're dealing with, like I said, strength levels and all that. So why would you, even though you consider yourself to be a woman, you know you were not born a woman, and if you do train, you are then still training testosterone, which is highly in your system. So you wouldn't be equal to a man, and I mean you wouldn't be equal to a woman in that level of sport. So why would that be? But, you know, what do I know? What do I know? But yeah, I just thought that was interesting to share.
I'll be able to get a ticket because Thanksgiving.
I think the play is just words. They should set of woman.
I don't have a spring break.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with the word and then the wording.
It's the East Coast version
that plays a part.
Oh, come on. I didn't even know the name of them either.
Huh?
I didn't know the name of them.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. That is true.
They only have.
So I mean, it all plays a part.
Half day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
And again, it's not, and it's not necessarily. And when people say, "Oh, it's an agenda," the agenda don't include us on either spectrum. It's not our agenda. It's always the other's agenda, even if it is the other and they just happen to be. But it's definitely not our agenda.
Told me to tell you hello.
I think the words confuse people.
Wow,
Yeah, the words do confuse people because they're unclear of what the words are. But then too, that creates an issue too because people become worried or concerned about things that they don't know. So that creates an issue too. But we don't take the time out to explain and get to know and do the work. We don't do that. We just, we go to it. We go straight for it. I'm gonna say that it's a gay agenda. It is a transgender agenda. I feel like there needs to be dropped the team. I don't know if I necessarily agree that it's a transgender agenda necessarily, but I think it's a push to draw awareness to them as part of the community or part of part of the. Oh my God! Yeah.
What did she say this the other day?
Sorry,
We
guys.
did have one that night we were at your house. He left Scar.
You and Tanya. It does not matter which you it is.
Transsexuals have had a lot of
these
complaints.
conversations. And it's like, and
Complete
none of
change
us
from
lie to
the
it,
original
we all
can
tell
tell
the
you
truth. We don't color,
different.
we don't code it with, coochie and all of that
Oh,
stuff.
she become the words. What you call it? Piggy? What's called it? What's called it?
I've been learning so much from my sisters. Yeah, I mean, it's all about learning and understanding. You may not agree with everything, but it comes to a point where you understand, where you grow to respect it, and just move forward. So,
What's circumcised? Is Carter circumcised? I was like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Thanksgiving I was
you
changing
should
his
just usually
diaper.
have that
She came in, she was like, "What is circumcised?" I was like,
okay.
"You see that on his little pee-pee?" She was like, "Oh yeah, that's what it means." She was like, "What is uncircumcised?"
Yeah,
Like, I
that
can't tell you
trans.
that because he's circumcised.
And so
It totally looks like somebody hiding in the bushes.
Right. And then like the word transvestite is offensive. Yeah. And that's the thing. Some people, a lot of us don't know, even in the community, what's offensive, what's not offensive. And the only way you get to know what's offensive and what's not offensive is, when it comes out. Like even the fish controversy. It's like some people find it offensive, other people don't really know what it means. And once they understand what it means, or they get the terminology of the phrasing and what it's used for, some people can say, "Oh, okay, I get it. I'm no longer offended," or "I still don't like it," and that's their choice.
Have fun. Go home with your family.
Yes, the background conversation
What
is.
did you do today?
Levante.
There are so many names.
Paid for us to go to New York, so I was driving and she paid for the gas. And,
Yeah, I remember.
But they're
I
funny.
knew we were supposed to go February 22nd.
So
Then
yeah,
she
but
changed
other than
it to
that,
today she got paid
doing
yesterday.
nothing
Haven't
much.
gotten her bonus
the fish thing.
And
The fish thing is really me. I only heard it on YouTube. Oh, okay. I've heard it. I've heard it once or twice. I haven't heard it a lot. I've heard it once or twice, and people saying, "Oh, referring to someone who
And I told her,
happened
how buy
to-
big
I don't know if they were just
beans.
dressed
I
for
mean,
a particular like ball or
Yeah,
something.
I was like, you know, I said, you
And they
gotta buy
said,
some
"Oh,
smoked
you know, you
beans
look like
with- I told
fish,"
her I just
and
seen
I
her.
didn't know what
So
that
she's
was,
so
and I
proud
was
of
like,
herself
"Okay."
today.
So I asked one of my other friends what that meant, and they said, "Oh, does he look like a female?" Okay, got it. And that was it. I didn't feel no type of way about it. I mean, I'm not a female, so
I'm
but
gonna put the money
I didn't
aside
feel any
like
type
that.
of way about it.
She's gonna find a reason to
But
suspend it,
something
you know. And I said,
right, the smell
"I'm
of
putting
fish
money
you
away,
mentioned.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
that
make
is
sure
true.
they get one." I was
That
like,
is true.
"Okay."
Yes.
I said, "You can't blame my."
And I think
my
that's why
weekends."
people are offended
And the only reason I'm not
by
going,
it
I didn't go someplace
is
else
because
Cookie is working.
exactly
Yeah,
when
my
you
sister-in-law.
say
Okay.
fish, it's
So
the smell.
she and I generally
So
go
you
someplace
try-
once
so
a month just
you're
to get
trying
away
to
from
say
everybody.
that.
So I told her, I said, "You off next weekend?" I said, "We
The
got it."
area smell. So no.
So okay. She said that works for me. No problem. So
Look at her like she a dog. I got a cat. I think it's a dog.
But
And the dog, you just let him
I
get
think she a cat. Don't want to do shit.
well,
Dog,
I mean,
the
well,
cat
yeah,
do
that
most of the
too.
dog do.
You could say, yeah,
I open the door,
that's
she
something
fly
more
in the porch,
graceful.
sit there and watch birds.
But there are some
Like,
graceful
sweet dog.
fish. But I mean,
Yep, I usually in the morning time I open the door
But
and I go
yeah.
take Squidgy to school and come back. So she be outside for a while. So the door still be open. So I come back, door still open. I went back to the room, lay down, and forgot the door.
but
was
with,
open. I hung up the phone
Yeah.
and I ran back.
this is true.
What the hell is that? Man, why was a bird in my house? I'm freaking out. Why my dumb ass cat run behind me? Oreo never woke up. This motherfucker, she jumped up in the bed, ran behind me, said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you kidding me?"
What you thought your cat was supposed to protect
Thank
you?
you. No, it's a bird. And every time she be trying to get them up to the goddamn window, that mother came in full live. At her ass, look at that slipping in like, "Bitch, you lying." That mother was like, "Hell no." And I'm now, mind you, when I
Oh, no.
sleep, and I'm in here by myself, I be naked. I had to jump up,
TMI.
try to put some,
Go ahead.
something on.
Why did Bloomberg drop out? Bloomberg dropped
And I
out
come out
of
here and
the
finally
race
went out. I go turn around the
because
corner, the bird
one, he
came
didn't
flying,
get
I'm
the
screaming.
number of delegates that he
Well,
thought he
finally
was
got
going to
the
get.
bird out. I said,
He claimed he
As soon
only
as I closed the door,
came
the
in the
bird
race
was
because Biden looked like he was going to lose. But being that Biden has picked up steam, he felt that he needed to drop out. That was his excuse. But I mean, he's been putting money into the DNC, so they're still going to get his agenda, whatever that is, across.
All right, over me. All right, well, hope you enjoy your
You think so?
Yeah, everything I do.
I don't do nothing.
It's all a
Wow.
fun bulldog.
It's last about a month because it's
interesting.
Well, it might last you longer because last month. But
It could be.
she made herself for 2
she
years.
got you
Okay,
tired.
good
She got you
point.
tired up the other day.
Did she?
Now, of course, you know that's not gonna last.
I mean, of course not.
All right.
All right, ladies. See y'all later.
Yeah.
They call when they let me know what you want to do. All right. You're welcome.
But no, there was something else we got to talk about, but I think
I need to eat something.
all I have to talk about really, because everybody else, as far as the presidential thing, everybody else has dropped out. So we look like there is still one hanger on her. What's her name?
Oh, you got. Does it say it's like mayonnaise on it?
Yeah,
Why did you put a picture?
I know. I thought about that after I was asleep. Toss it out.
What do you want it?
Nope.
Okay. I said that's gonna make you sick.
I know. That's I thought about it, but I was like, I was too lazy to get up and put it in the refrigerator.
I'm about to eat this biscuit, take my shower, so I'm gonna be ready to pick this boy up.
The teacher. What teacher?
Huh?
No, I was talking
Oh.
Spanish. Right, Apocalypse. He will not get reelected. I mean, he get reelected if he cheats, which we know he will do. If he cheats, he'll get reelected. But if he actually, if he doesn't cheat, will he get reelected? No. He knows it. He knows it. Because what you fail to realize, a lot of people did not show up and vote. They just didn't. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. A lot of people just stayed home and they did not vote. They said, forget it, I'm not going to vote. Now, if people come out like they did in the midterms, then yeah, he won't get reelected unless he cheats. Like I said, he knows that. Oh, gosh, what is her name? Hold on. I have it in my notes in here somewhere because I just looked at it too. Top Democratic candidates. Nope. Oh, that's not it. Here we go. Bloomberg, Pete Buttigieg, Tulsi Gabbard, the U.S. Congresswoman from Hawaii. She is still in the race, but she hasn't qualified for any of the debates. Well, not any of the debates, but the most recent debates. She has not qualified for them. So she's asking for Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders to help her get on the debate stage, being that she's the only woman left. But I mean, if you're not pulling the numbers, just bow out. If you're not pulling the numbers, just bow out. Because I just find it to be, I don't know who her campaign manager is, but it's definitely a bad strategy because this is key. If in fact she would have been picked or would have been somewhat a name to float around for a VP spot or any kind of candidates, ticket spot as far as the cabinet, it doesn't look good because you're seen as not viable, which means you're basically seen like the people don't gather toward you. They're not, you're not someone seen as like, okay, you can go far. Because if you wait too long when you're not picked or you're not being voted or your votes are not high, if you stay in a race that, really you're bound to lose, it doesn't look good for you. So the longer she stays in this, knowing good and well that the top female front runner has left, you look dumb. You look dumb, and there's no reason for you to be there. I don't know what she's trying to prove by sitting in there. I have no idea. Maybe that she's a strong woman and she won't leave. I have no clue, but she needs to get herself together. He'll cheat and the Republicans will help him. Yeah, I think so. He will cheat and the Republicans will help him. And that's the only way he will win. Let's just be real. There are more white Republicans in America than anything else. No, that's not necessarily true. They're just more white. They're more white Republicans in power and positions to help him cheat than there are. But there's not more white Republicans in America. No. There's white racist people in America, Republican and Democrat. That's something I'll say. That's what that is, because that's what happened in 2016. People who even said that they were voting for Hillary went in the booth and voted for Trump, knowing good and well he was a bigot, knowing good and well he was all those things, and they just didn't care, but they didn't want to say that publicly because then they'll get labeled, and Lord knows we hate labels.
Sorry.
Well, no, of course not. Oh, you're fine. I mean, granted, when you sit down, when you have a kind of ideology like that all of them are crooked, that's such a blanket statement. I mean, if that's the case, everybody I mean, that's like saying everybody lies or everybody has told a lie. Yeah, everybody has told a mistruth at some point somewhere. So to say that, you don't trust any of them, that they're all crooked, no, that's not necessarily true. I don't necessarily agree with that. Again, it's all about the candidate and then who else is in office along with that particular candidate, where in which they may promise you something and then later on they cannot deliver because the people behind him, like maybe the Congress or the assembly, won't let them push through the agenda that they're trying to push through. So it's not necessarily always sometimes that the person lies. No. How did I make your point that there's more white Republicans in America? I said there's racist people in America, but that doesn't mean that they're Republican. Like I said, they can be Republican and Democrat, but the fact that they are racist in America is that's fact. But that has nothing to do with it being more white Republicans. So, right. Exactly. If 9/11 did not happen, George W. Bush would not have gotten reelected. And that's fact. He wouldn't have gotten reelected. 9/11 helped him get reelected. I know who he was talking about. How you doing, Diving for Death? Of course, they're racist Democrats. Right, but your point was saying that you said that there were more white Republicans in America, and that's not true. I mean, again, that's not true. It's just for the simple fact people don't vote. That's the problem. People don't vote. It is not that there are more one than the other, because there's actually, you can tell by the popular vote, even looking at Hillary's just based on popular vote alone, there are more people who don't follow the guidelines of even Republican or Democrat and vote independently on thought than there are people structured with, I stick with this party, I stick with that party. However, one is how the system is set up. That's why I think the electoral college needs to be done away with. That allows. You're afraid what is true? You're afraid what is true? That there are more white Republicans in America? That's not true. It's not true. Again, you can look from 2016's election. You can look back all the way back to 2000 election. There are definitely not more Republicans in America. They're not. However, the way the system is set up, and those of us that actually vote, they do go out and vote in number. They vote. They regularly vote. We don't regularly vote. We don't regularly vote. I mean, yeah, we can respectfully agree to disagree, of course. No problem with that. But we don't regularly vote. And that's statistically proven that we do not vote regularly as we should. All right. Thank you, Bless, for stopping by. I appreciate you. Have a great day. Immigration is the biggest problem. Yeah, I mean, he'll win some people, of course, because he talks about what they believe in. They don't want people. They don't want America to be brown. They like it to be whitewashed, so they want to keep it that way. A lot of people feel that way. They ain't gonna tell you that publicly because they don't want to be labeled, but privately, they agree with him. That's why he's as popular as he is. That's a given. It's a given. Again, but other people have to vote. Other people have to show up and vote. Because surprisingly enough, and truly, it's a very small number. It's a small number. But if you sit home, of course that number is larger. Because you sit home, they go to the polls. They go to every poll. They go to every town hall. They are very active in the voting process. You would think somebody was taking it away from them, how hard they go to vote. They show up. We don't. No, I mean, there's extremes on both sides. Yes, that's no question. There are extremes on both sides, but you do have to ask yourself, which one speaks to me? Which one is geared towards what I believe in, my concerns? And you might find that you might can pull some from one and pull some from another or whatever. But overall, who more speaks to me? And that's what you have to discover that for yourself. I'm just saying that we do not go out and vote. The system is flawed, yes, but we don't go out and do what we need to do. So we can't, we can't say that there's more people voting or in America than there are people, that would actually change the system. That's not true. Again, because if it was true, they would not be trying to take your vote from you. They are making the Voting Rights Act right now is in jeopardy because they are purging people from the rolls to make sure and to ensure that they keep power. A story Nate just gave me, I just put it in my newsfeed the other day in Alabama. City councils are usually run on districts, right? You have a certain district and your city council, and they, the people in the district get to vote. There's a black district in Alabama. Everybody on the city council is white. And you know what they do? Instead of holding their elections around that county and the people in the county vote for who they want to sit on the county board, on the board, on the council. No, they give the council vote to the entire state. Now, the state itself or the city itself, of course, if you do a widespread, is majority white. So if all the white people get to vote on who sits in the city council in a black known town city, how can anybody of color get a vote? I mean, these things are happening. They're not just little things people are making up. These things are happening right now. Like I always say, the governor in Georgia purged 500,000 people from the rolls because he knew that if these people were allowed to vote, which they were, he would not have won. So he purged it. They're just now pulling this stuff up, and the court is making him actually show his records because he was the Secretary of State, which he was in charge of the vote. So not only was he in charge of overseeing the vote, he was also running and never stepped down from his position. So I mean, it's serious. It's nothing to take lightly. These things are definitely happening. We need to definitely be vigilant. We'll be sitting over here counting dimple chads and all this other stuff all over again, just like they did in 2000, because they're just trying to do everything they can to keep power and keep it away from the people. And I think that's what makes them so scared of Bernie Sanders too, because it's like, trust and believe, he has his stuff with him too. But anytime you are speaking to the people directly, it always makes the establishment upset because they have a way that they function with things. And when you disrupt that, you make it an issue. Yeah, and excuse me, and that's fine. Apocalypse, you can vote independently. I recommend that. That way you get to pick, you base it directly on whomever speaks to your needs or your whatever. But what I won't let anybody do, or what I really suggest that you don't do, is just don't throw your vote away by just picking anybody or a third party candidate who will jump into the race. Actually, do the research and pick someone viable that speaks to your needs. Yeah, since America's always been a problem with immigrants. Yeah, they've always had a problem with immigrants, but not until this person who actually hires immigrants started this whole rhetoric of build this wall. We need to watch these people coming in here. Has this been a heightened thing of immigration? Because before, even with George W. Bush and even George H. Bush Sr., it's been you can come here, you can work here, and eventually, get your paperwork together and you can, become a citizen. But it was a whole thing of you can come over here to work, get a better life, what have you, follow the steps to become a citizen and eventually become a citizen. That's how the Republican thing has been, all while using the labor of these same people, paying them less, but using them for labor. So I don't understand the whole get them out of here, but yet you can use them for your labor. This just doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. No, I will, SQ, I will definitely disagree with you on that. The reason for the impeachment was not to get him out of office, because again, they knew that they could not get him out because the Senate was there to protect him, because of course he had, there was a higher number of Republicans senators than it was Democrats. So of course they knew that they couldn't get him out. But the reason for the impeachment trial and all that happened was to inform the people of the crimes that the president has done thus far. So therefore, when it's time for you to vote, you are voting with the full knowledge of what the president has done, and then you can make that decision if you felt that he, jeopardized national security, violated his oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution, one, and the United States. So, that's the reason for the impeachment trial and all the and the millions of dollars into the investigations and all that. Because let's be very clear, there was illegal stuff done. It's still coming out now. Even the federal judge this week got after the attorney general, saying that what you did to try and cover up or make it seem like the Mueller report was was unconstitutional. And it needs to be reviewed, and not just the redacted version, but the unredacted version. Basically, the whole report needs to be cleared so you could see everything. So I think, it's a lot that he has done, that the impeachment has just was allowed to let the people see exactly what this president has done. I mean, we sit and talk about the millions of dollars that was spent on the same millions of dollars that you spend. You just spent $80 million. You spent $80,000 so Eric Trump can get room service when he was in New Zealand. You spend money when Donald Trump Jr. gets to go hunt grizzly bears. You spend the same amount of money when he takes his whole family with him on foreign trips. You spend the same amount of money, for all their security detail. I mean, so when we talk about what money is being spent, you're spending it because they're making sure you spend it. Wow, commercials that said no blacks allowed. Really? Whoa, that's. And at the end of the commercial, they say no blacks allowed. Wow. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know what to say. I'm speechless just reading that. The impeachment was to let everybody know, you're right, the kind of person that is leading the country. Exactly right. I mean, it's so that he even got scared. Donald Trump himself has gotten scared about the possibility of him actually losing the presidency and having to go back to New York, because New York is waiting for him to charge him. Because again, separation of the states, he has no magic powers. Once he leaves DC, he has no magic powers. But what he did was he changed his residency from New York to Mar-a-Lago. So therefore, he's now a Florida resident. So he doesn't have to deal with any criminal charges from New York. However, that still doesn't mean anything, because if the district attorney in Florida, if that flips or something changes in that regard, they can still usher his butt back up to New York for charges. So, I mean, so who knows? I mean, New York never really liked him. For some reason, he just thought he did. He just thought they did. Right. Every time he goes to Mar-a-Lago, we pay for it. So when we say and talking about the millions of dollars that was spent on anything, you spend millions of dollars for his children to do a lot of stuff. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, at the South, that's just a different place altogether. Yeah, New Yorkers said no to Donald Trump a long time ago. I went right back to Chicago. Oh, okay. Yeah, and the Flint water crisis. It should have been resolved a long time ago, and it still hasn't been. So I mean, it's a lot of things that are that need to be tended to, and he's concerning himself with other things that really, I mean, to the point where you're more concerned about the stock market because that's what you're hanging your hat on. But the reality is that the majority of the people who even vote for him in the Bible Belt and those rustic states, they don't have stock in the stock market. The company that they work for may have stock in the stock market. So they think that if the market is doing good, that some way leads to a bonus for them. And the reality is not if you don't have a 401k, not if you don't have any investments. What money are you getting? But again, it's been instilled in a lot of them that at least you're better than them. And it's like some of them are dirt poor, uneducated. So how are you better than me? But the mentality is that you are because of your skin color. at least. And that's good enough. And that's good enough for them, that they will even forego their own interests just for this and just for that, which I think is sick. But yeah, got that. And that Flint water crisis, that governor should be in jail. But again, it's not them. So again, they're not concerned. And that's the problem. It's never a concern when it doesn't affect them. It's only a concern when it affects them. Flint, because Flint is majoritarily has people of color in it, it's not that big of a deal. Well, any crisis where people's water is contaminated is a crisis. I mean, so much so now you'll probably get to see soon everywhere will be Flint, because he has pulled back Obama's environmental things. He's rolled them all back. So companies can now dump their chemical waste into streams and rivers. And everything can be contaminated at this point. So who knows? So I'm just saying, I get it, but there's a lot that's going on in the background. There are tons of federal judges that are being pushed through. That these judges are paying these senators so they can push them on through and give them the green light. They're trying to make the federal courts full of conservative judges to pass conservative laws. So, it's a lot bigger than just him serving another 4 years. Him serving another 4 years would mean completely unhinging the Supreme Court, federal courts, the judicial system, period. And that's not just for another 4 years. That could be for another decade, another 2 decades. So we can't just think about this moment as a monolith to just 4 more years and we'll be fine. No, 4 more years of this will totally destroy. This nation will not be able to forego another 4 years. Used to wonder if it was racism or classism. Yeah, me too. All right, restructure is crumbling. Yeah, it is. Right, exactly. But that's exactly what I was saying, that a lot of people do. A lot of people do support him, but they don't want to be known as a racist in public. So they support him in private and go to the polls. That's exactly what I said. And that's just what they did on 16. That's just what they did. And people were, Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. And they went right in that booth and they pulled it. That's why I just feel like people should be able to stand by your vote. If you make the vote, you should be able to go, oh, okay, you voted for so-and-so. Okay. Like, you should know that. I mean, granted, I get it, that it's a whole privacy thing, whatever. But I think at this point, because for me, if you voted for him, you basically say you're all right with that. And that's fine. You could be white or black or whatever and voted for him and still have a bit of, because of course racism is a system, but you can be racist or you can be bigoted and still vote for this man, whether you want people to believe it or not, or whether you want to accept it or not. It is what it is. I mean, he's even talking about getting the Supreme Court to make him the president for life. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? It gets to a point where you could go too far. Like, you're going too far. And I think at this point, it's going too far. 4 years is enough. Great, good. You got it. Great. Like, let's start to get some order back, because it's just really ridiculous. And not to mention, he is a representation of us. So whether you agree with him or not, when he goes overseas, he is the United States. Period. He's trying to get everybody in anything. I mean, he's even putting his flunkies in top government, top secret places just so they can hide his dirt. Not that they know anything about the CIA, the FBI, or any of those things. They know nothing about it, but he just wants them to be able to take whatever dirt he does and cover it up. That's all. It has nothing to do with the betterment of this country, this nation, the people in it. Everything's about him. So I'm trying to figure out, how does that garner anyone's vote? Like, if I'm voting for you to be the president of the United States and all you can do is to be the president of yourself, how does that benefit me? I'm just saying. Yeah, he makes us look bad, but we make ourselves look bad. We make ourselves look even worse because we don't do nothing about it. We do nothing about it. Yeah, we do need to come together and get this man out of office. I mean, I think it's time. Like, it's really time. He had his moment. It's time. It really is. And at this point, right. That's what I want to know too. I really want to know how much the Russians already know. I want to know how much the Russians know. I want to know how much China knows. I want to know how much North and South Korea know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they don't even, I mean, anytime Germany and all the other nations in the global union don't really look at us at all anymore, at all. They'll go to the UN first before they even come this way. I mean, it's sad. It really is sad. And for him to only cuddle up or talk to people with large money that he could utilize, or this thing of, oh, dictators, he has this thing for dictators. No, I think he just has a thing for people with money that he can utilize. People with money that will spend money in his hotels and his product to get his attention. That's what he's concerned about. Because again, he's just using this office to make money for himself. That's all it is. It's to make money for himself. Right. He uses an unsecured cell phone. It's already been, they said the Chinese hacked into it once or something like that. So I mean, he doesn't care about any of it. He really doesn't. I'm just waiting for people to wake up and see he really don't give a shit. And furthermore, we don't need to wait for them to see that. If you know it, you know what you know. Everything it comes out all the time. It's like a drip, drip, drip. It'll be dripping all the way till November. You get in the booth and you make a firm decision. Has he cheated? Yes. I think he cheated the first time. I think he cheated in 2016, if you ask me. I think he cheated to get the dirt on Hillary. I think once they figured out that worked and he got elected, he figured he's going to do it again. And he did. Finding one issue. Yeah, I've read that. I did read that. I don't know why people do that. You clearly see me on here because you got the notification like everybody else. But why do you feel like you need to call me to interrupt me? You got the notification, so I don't understand. Don't do that. So irritating. Only information that Johnny's got. Right. Definitely with his behind. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just hope we get to a better place. And I get people may have been angry because, you know, there happened to be a black man in office and this is the way they felt by getting back at that. But I mean, come on, we are 2020. Like we are in 2020. Are we still some of these things? I think it's like history repeats itself, but always in a different form. But it just makes me it just really upsets me. Like as much as you think you move forward or you progress, it's always a step back somewhere. And a step forward. His voting, his inauguration was like a step forward in a direction where you even thought, okay, maybe the country is moving forward, only to get slapped back to this with this person in office. And this whole make America white again that they cover up with this make America great again and America first. It's make America white again. So again, when you're a person of color and you're walking around with the hat on, you look stupid. To me personally, you just look stupid. He's against. I mean, he's against everything. He really is against everything. Yeah, maybe they didn't receive the notification, right? Well, then they need to check that bell, but I ain't got time. Because I know this person follows me, so I know you got some sort of notification. I know they know more about us. Yeah, of course they do. But I'm pretty sure the Russians have sold information to China and probably sold it to Korea. Yeah, of course. Definitely. I'm sure they have. Hey, Auntie Donna, how you doing? Trump still thinks he's... Yeah, I mean, he runs it as a reality show. He still thinks he's like running The Apprentice. I mean, he only does press conferences at a certain time when he thinks people are home watching TV. Like the last press conference that he did about the coronavirus, he did at 6 p.m. because he figured you're at home, you just got off work, that's prime time. 6, 8, anything after that is like, he won't do it. So 6 and 8 is usually his go time. But we'll see. Like I said, it's important that we get out and vote. It's important that you do your research. It is definitely important that you vote not only for your big ticket people, but your local officials, your sheriffs, your city council, your definitely your educational board. The people that sit on your boards of education, definitely pay attention to those, especially for those of you that have children. They make those rules and things where, if your child has dreads, they can't walk across the stage during graduation. All those things are made by the school board. So, you have to be mindful too of who you're voting for and picking at those things too. Drop the link to what? Sorry. This man ran office as again to change. Yeah, I mean, that's all it was. Once Obama made fun of him at the correspondence dinner. Sorry, I'm about to get off here anyway. So, unfortunately, no, I will not be dropping the link this time because it's already been an hour and 25 minutes. Starring a reality show. Yeah. This man's running for office again. Nope. Sorry, won't do it. No, I've been on here long enough. I am about to get off anyway, but maybe next time. I did drop the link earlier, so you should have clicked on it up in the chat earlier, sir. If you wanted to say something, but you're free to say what you need to say in the chat because I'll be on here for like 2 more minutes. So, but anyway, you guys, like I said, I've been on here for an hour and some change, running my mouth. So, hope you guys have a great Saturday. I'd like to thank you guys for hanging out with me and just shooting the breeze with me about things that has happened this week that has gone on. Again, if you come across anything during this coming week that you find to be interesting or something that you think I might find interest to, please make sure you send me an email and I will throw the email out here. Just give me 1 second. Where is my email? And you can email that. So if you see something that you think I might like or find interest, shoot me an email that I could talk about here. I just need to know one thing. Is it safe to eat fish? It is safe to eat fish, I guess. It's safe to eat it. But anyway, once again, thank you guys for coming out. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe. See you guys on Monday. Thanks for coming out. Peace.